Started. So welcome to Simplify and Streamline. I love how everybody's kind of like doing different things. Kim's folding laundry. Jen just got back from a class. Like, just here we are, right?
Mhm.
Just raw and real as always. So Katie and I are so excited to have you here today. So we have a an awesome content packed, jam packed filled PowerPoint here that I'm going to pull up in a second. And no worries if you're driving, if you're watching the replay, no worries, just come back. But yeah, we're excited to get started. So, Katie, do you want to say anything before we pop into the PowerPoint?
Yeah, just excited for everyone who is showing up live, even though we're doing laundry, we're picking up our kids. I think maybe you just didn't work out, but like you're still showing up, right? So I just applaud you all for doing that. And I think that it's definitely like the season you're entering in, Christina. Like you just gotta show up as you are, kind of. So I love the flexibility and just the camaraderie that we already have in this community.
Yeah, and I love the Facebook group engagement. I love seeing you guys interact with each other. And thank you for posting because it helps us help you. I curated some of the slides actually today based upon what some of you were sharing. So super helpful to just have that information so we can be of highest service to you. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. So welcome to Simplify and Streamline. Katie and I are so excited to have you here. I know that a lot of you are pharmacists. We have actually Erin Turo, her husband's a chiropractor, so she's going to be popping on too. So we have a lot of different people from different industries. I know Christine Furman does more like educational packages and things like that. So we have a wide variety and a gamut of different industries, which I really love. So if you have any questions, like this is not formal, pop them in the chat. We're happy to answer any questions too. This is very much an interactive workshop. It's not meant to be stiff or rigid or like we're talking at you. We're actually here to help, guide or answer questions. Anything that you have questions on, we're here to help. So anyway, just wanted to put that out there that we want to hear from you. So if you're brand new, which I might have some people watching the replay who are brand new, you might say, who are these people? Who's Christina and who's Katie? So I am a former retail pharmacist. My dad was a pharmacist, owned a pharmacy for 32 years. So I think I had a little bit of that entrepreneurial blood in me from a very early age. Oh, here's my dog. Here's Penny. She's coming to sit with us. And I decided to go a different path. So I, in my 5th year of pharmacy school, decided to go do a residency, and my family was furious. So if you know my story, you know that I did get my residency, got kicked out of my house. I was homeless. I was broke. And all the while, I also had a rare eating disorder that caused me daily anxiety. So I was on Xanax, I had PTSD, I had all of these things that really just kind of broke me down. And that's where I started. Really, this journey is 2012, being broke, homeless, rare eating disorder, attracting narcissistic men, you name it, I had it. So I kind of laugh at myself now because I'm like, wow, I can't even believe like that transformation of the person that I was to who I am now. But it's why I'm so passionate about this work and helping women to really step into your power as a healer, a leader, a light worker here to make an impact. So I've been a business owner for the past 12 years. So after that residency program, I went through integrative nutrition. I got certified in hypnosis and all of these different things. And huge nerd, love to write books and host retreats and all of these things. So I've really, taken a lot of here's Erin. I'm letting her in. So I've taken that pain and turned it into purpose to empower other women business owners to own these different parts of your story too. And I know this is about marketing and sales, but really messaging and calling in these clients comes back to you shining as yourself and owning your story, owning these different parts of your experience. So that's why I start off by just sharing, this is who I am. So I've gone from being homeless, broke, all of that, to creating a multi 6-figure business per year. And I'm a 7-figure business owner. So I spent the first 7 years of my business trying to do it all myself, figure everything out on my own. And it didn't work, right? I was like, oh, I got it, right? To independent woman. Oh, I'm smart. I could figure this out. I got a pharmacy degree, and it didn't work, right? So we're going to go through some of that today. Is Jennifer writing on the PowerPoint? How are you writing on the PowerPoint? I don't know how that happened. There's like 2 little yellow lines. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Anyway, it's fun. So I tried to figure it out myself. And what I found over the last 12 years of being in business is that strategy is important, but really it's the energy that you're bringing to your business. So the biggest barrier that exists is idea to implementation. So meaning there's a lot of these protective parts of us that show up whenever we're trying to grow our business, whether it's overthinking or people pleasing or perfectionism or playing small and not really showing up fully and challenging our audience. I see a lot of people educating their audiences, talking about different things, which is helpful, but that's only one bucket of content creation. So you want to think about the fact that there are these internal and maybe external things that you might not be seeing that might be blocking you. And we're going to go through some of that together here to help you simplify and streamline your business. The second thing I learned was you don't have to do all the things by yourself. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and tomorrow. Delegating. I know that was a big theme in the Facebook group too. I think I saw Christine, and there were a couple other people who were talking about that, that they have a little bit of hesitation too about, letting go of control to delegate some of these other tasks. And the third thing I learned over the last 12 years is investing with mentors who can help you collapse time, meaning instead of something taking you 7 years, like it did for me, it can be a lot easier. And so that's what I want for you. So investing with people who can help you collapse time, people who have been there, done that, can really accelerate the path. And so I've done that. I don't just say this stuff. I've done that. I've invested over $400,000 in my business, not including pharmacy school, with people who could help me, right? So business and transformation coaching. I became a certified speaker. Like I wasn't just a good, and I don't even know if I'm a good speaker, but I started off doing YouTube videos in my crappy studio apartment in Brooklyn, and I kept practicing. And then I went to a speaker's boot camp, and I invested in all of these different things that would help me pretty much bring my magic to the world in all of these different formats. So retreats, books, all of these different platforms that I now have, it didn't just happen overnight. There were intentional action steps that I took, that I followed my intuition and said, that's the person I want to work with. That person is going to help me collapse time and accelerate my path to the goal of making a global impact. Because that's really my why, is because I've been through so much trauma and so much of just, I think, growing up in a very suppressed environment, going into pharmacy where we suppress a lot of symptoms. I think that that's really why I'm here, is to help spread the message of healing and ignite other light workers and healers to spread your message as well. So it definitely requires, investing in yourself to get to that next level. So I know we're going to be talking about some of these different ways to market. So I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of some of the things that I've done in the past. So I've had a YouTube channel since 2013. I've done a weekly newsletter consistently every single week since 2013, blogging, podcasting, and I created that in one day. So talk about idea to implementation. I didn't futz over oh, what's the logo going to look like? We get so caught up in perfectionism that can really slow down. It's like dragging you back, like walking through mud, right? There's a lot of resistance, oh no, it has to be perfect. And what I've learned is, it's better to focus on the message. Like, why are you doing this? It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always go back and tweak things. Kim is always helping me. She's like, this link is broken on your website. I'm like, okay, we'll fix that. Right. So it's not about being perfect. It's about getting your message out there and reaching those soul clients who are ready to pay you and that you can help. And I've launched over 15 profitable courses. And the past few slides, I am not saying this stuff to brag. I'm showing you what's possible, because I think that so often we're like, oh yeah, like I have these goals, but like, how do I get there? Right. So I want to show you that this is not only a dream or a desire, but what you have on your heart is possible. So I'll let Katie share a little bit about her journey now.
Hi, everyone. I know some of you who are on live, but there are some new faces here and probably people who are watching the replay as well. So my name is Katie. I was actually one of Christina's clients for a really long time. So the story that she shared, I just kind of want to like tag along on that. She shared it another time. It was a couple years ago, basically how for 7 years she tried to do it by herself. And that once she finally decided to invest in herself, that's when she really started to collapse time on her entrepreneurial journey. And that just always stuck with me. So thank you, Christina, for sharing that back
It's the
when.
truth.
It just stuck with me. I'm just
Yeah.
like, well, why would I, try and figure it out myself? So I have, invested in myself, worked with Christina, worked with a lot of other coaches as well. And I'm also a pharmacist. I worked in retail for 8 years after graduation. COVID happened. Lots of things changed when COVID happened. I'm sure that a lot of you can relate with that. I'm a part-time pharmacist now. I work in a medical marijuana dispensary in New York, so that's definitely way cooler than retail. And I'm an online entrepreneur. So my husband and I launched our first business in January of 2020, an e-commerce business. We've had multi six figures in sales. We launched, I don't even know, 5 or 6 kitchen products.
Was this it? Was this one of them?
Yes, that was it. Yep, Olive's Kitchen.
Mhm.
So my daughter was not even 1 yet. So we named it after her. This was kind of like our little baby business. And yeah, that's just kind of how I dipped my toes into the entrepreneurial space. And then, yeah, COVID happened. That made e-commerce business interesting on Amazon, but I won't get into the details of that. But kind of fast forward to, I think it was 2021, where I met Christina, kind of connected with her. I learned about the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. I went there, got my health coaching certificate. I had also experienced, some struggles getting pregnant. So that was a passion of mine, right? I didn't really have passion underneath the e-commerce business. It was just kind of a, hey, let's do this thing and hopefully like pay off our student loans a little bit faster. But I had a lot of passion to help women struggling to conceive. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate that the way that you either are showing up to serve people or the way that you want to, I am willing to bet that it's linked to a prior experience that you had yourself. And that's where that passion is coming
Yeah.
through. So I have actually, co-owned one business. I am the only owner of my coaching business, all the while having a newborn, a toddler at home, still working in pharmacy. So being able to be as efficient as possible, right? Some of you are folding clothes while you're watching this. Like, yes, I am with you 110%. I have been folding clothes on different calls myself. So being able to delegate tasks for efficiency and being able to use tools and other things to just make things work as seamlessly as possible, and even having things work on the back end while you're
Mhm.
sleeping, right? Selling for you.
Yep.
And I had to calculate it today, but I have invested over $100,000 in coaching programs and also certifications. And that's wild to even think about it. And I would do it all over again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So let me know in the chat if any of you know about human design or if you like human design, anything like that. So my human design is a projector. And if you don't know what human design is, don't worry about it. I'm a 1-3 projector. So basically, my purpose is to live through experience and learn things and then teach it to people to make things more efficient and easier for them. And it's so funny now that I know that about myself, because working in pharmacy, people would always tell me, like, how do you get these things done so quickly? Like, how are you finishing these tasks in like a fraction of the time of the other pharmacists? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like in my mind, I'm just like, well, it just makes sense to do it in this way or whatever it may be. So I have educated myself in business energetics, funnels, Facebook ads, selling on Instagram, Pinterest, copywriting, sales and marketing, all of the things. And I'm all about it. I love learning and I love sharing it with people. So that's just a little bit about me. And yeah, super excited to share more with you guys.
Oh, I saw one slide and I was like, oh, hell no, that's not enough to talk about Katie. So I'm going to brag on Katie a little bit here. So she also has, I'm talking about efficiency. She has a beautiful Etsy shop. She actually makes her own oils. She went from, and I know she's going to talk about this at some point, but she went from one listing to now 113 listings on Etsy. So again, we share this with you to show you what's possible, because I think so often, what we're going to talk about specifically in Simplifying Streamline is one of the things that Katie just talked about is delegating, right? So like not feeling like, oh my God, how am I going to do all of this myself? It's allowed to be easier. So that's why we're showing you some of the different things that we've done to be able to create, and we're going to talk about this too, passive and active income streams to simplify, streamline, scale your business. That's what we're all about. So we wanted to give you kind of a context for who the heck we are and why we're teaching this. So now we want to hear from you. What are your current marketing efforts? I know Katie had a really awesome poll in the Facebook group, but I'd love to hear from you again. If you didn't fill out that poll, let me know in the chat here. And again, this is interactive. This is not like a prescriptive, what's it called, like masterclass or workshop. So if you have questions, please let us know in the chat too. Didn't fill out a poll. It's all right. Just answer here. So social media, blogging, you kind of did, Kim. I think you talked about this already. You do some like networking. Nice. Just launched a podcast. Yes. Spam me in the chat. I want to hear all your marketing efforts, social media, emails, in person. Curious about the in-person, Jennifer. Love it. Workshops, classes, anything like that. Events, in-person, online events, or speaking engagements, right? I'm launching a newsletter. Oh, we're talking about that next. Yes. I love it. Yep. I'm going to give some really good tips on that. In-person events, community events for moms. Love it. Wish that existed here for me. Word of mouth. Beautiful. Yeah. Podcast is next. Yeah. Social media everywhere, email, newsletters. Okay. So now my next question, let's go a little bit deeper. How consistent are you with these different things? Yeah, there you go. Kim's plugging herself in right there. So how often are you consistent? Are you finding, like, what's that like for you? Getting more consistent, not as much as I want to be. Okay. This is where we kind of dig into a little bit more of that granular, P2 overwhelming. Yeah. Yeah. With social media marketing, definitely. I always recommend picking 2 channels and going with that. And then we're going to talk about some other strategies here too on how to streamline that social media daily, Podcast 2 times a month, blog sporadic. Yeah, this is just helping me kind of get Katie and I get a little bit more of an idea of what you guys are already up to in Q2 weeks. Yeah. I love it, Jennifer. Referrals, newsletter, not as consistent as I hope to be, takes me a lot of time. Yeah, Deanne, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, podcast is weekly. Now that I have that content, I will be able to streamline much easier, fine-tuning what that looks like. Okay, let's go a level deeper here. Perfect thing to delegate. Yep. So where are you delegating some of these tasks? Let's talk about that. Not at all. Just type in the chat. Not at all. Doing it all myself. Okay. None. Podcast editing. Love it. I haven't launched a newsletter. Yeah. I need more income. Yeah. I hear you. Yep. Okay. Thank you so much. You guys are freaking awesome in this chat right now. Love it. Okay. I edit my own because I'm a whiz. There you go. The team member. Okay. Social, several team members, partially outsourced. Okay. So Erin, is that like the posting, the editing? Like what part of that? Definitely need more help. Yeah. Yep. This all makes so much sense. Thank you, everybody, for just really leaning in here with me. You guys really want to win the prizes. Now we have to go back and be like, who was here? Katie, keep track for us. Okay, awesome. This is a great place for us to start, right? So take whatever, resonates with you from this, take that, because we're going to be going through a lot of stuff today, and whatever works. For editing and pizzazz, then we social it out, like to learn more on that. Okay. Yeah. Who uses ClickUp or anything like that? What kind of tech are you using to delegate these tasks? So we're going like levels deeper here. ClickUp, I think Monday.com is another one, right, Katie? Best video tools, yeah. For editing. Yeah, ClickUp, that's what I use. I think Katie uses that too. Camtasia, Deanne, that's what I recommend. Best video tools, yeah. You could do audio too on that. I that's how I edit all my meditations and everything. So I'll type it in here, Camtasia. Yeah, so Camtasia is a software that you buy once. Katie and I both have it. And you can overlay, like that's how I do my podcast, Vimeo, then Nada for transcribing. Okay. Got it. How many of you are repurposing over multiple channels? So like, as an example, you take your podcast, you have a VA, put it on YouTube so that you have a streamlined process. Anybody? Absolutely. Cool. Would love to create a meditation. Yeah, I love that, Deanne. My podcast automatically syndicates to YouTube. Okay. Or vice versa. Beautiful. Love it. So this is an example of a simplifying streamline process, right? So you have something that you create, then you have a team member and you have maybe policies and procedures that, okay, once X happens, then Y, Z, happen. And team members don't have to be expensive. We're going to talk about that too. I know, Deanne, you were saying, you're like, I want to make more money before I spend money. It totally makes sense. I get that too. So I want you to start thinking of, okay, you are the CEO of your business. You got that queen crown on. You are the CEO. You are the visionary. How can you start delegating some of these tasks and creating, when this happens, XYZ happens, and you don't even have to think about it, right? When something, like as an example, when I go live on the Healers in Healthcare show, Priscilla knows exactly what to do, where to upload it, blog, because I've already written out a policies and procedures and they know exactly what to do, right? So when you set those systems up, and we'll go into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of that, That's an example, right? You don't even have to think about it. It's like loop closed, tied up in a bow, good to go. Now I can focus on other things. So just keep this kind of in the back of your mind, because we're going to come back to this throughout. I'll keep kind of coming back to it. Media blaster. I don't want them to have on my the social media blast for my podcasts to a VA. I don't want them to have access. So I use Social Bee, and I have my question is why, I feel like I don't know, is there like a fear of like not having access to these? So what do you suggest? I'm just curious what that is. Be close to that, but I need to write a few more systems. Yeah. Yep. Because here's the thing, if you have repeatable systems and you train somebody and you have somebody new come in, you're like, hey, here's a video, here's a training video, click on this, da 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 da. Here's exactly what you do and how you upload a blog to my website on the back end, right? Then you don't have to repeat yourself and expend more energy. Show us a little bit more about ClickUp. I do want to get through this, but I will definitely maybe actually remind me at the end, Christine, because I could definitely come back to that. That's a great, I just want to make sure we get through all the content. Maybe that my passwords, like Social Bee. No, you don't need to give them access to your password. I don't believe. Katie, what do you know?
So I use Social Pilot, which I think is similar.
Yeah.
Basically, you connect, or at least this is how it works for me. You connect the
Oh
account
yeah.
to this one main account, and then the Social Bee or the Social Pilot is probably the only password they would need, or
That, yeah, you're right. Because I
like
I
with,
don't even know. Like I don't go into the nitty
yeah,
gritty of that.
or like with Kajabi, like
Yeah.
Christina and I were able to make each other assistants in our
Mhm.
Kajabis. So like Christina doesn't even know my password. And so there's
Yeah,
definitely ways around it.
that's a great point. Love it. All right. Thank you. You guys are awesome. I love it. I'm going to pop back in here and keep going, but just so we have kind of an idea of we know where everybody's at here. So right now, this is a might. It may or may not be you. You might be struggling with where to put your energy to get the biggest ROI and ROE. So we're going to talk about return on energy, because we have to talk about energy if it's one of my trainings here. Maybe you're overthinking marketing and content creation. So getting stuck on like, well, what do I write about? How do I kind of stand out amongst all the other coaches out there? Maybe you're comparing yourself. Some of that could be a block. Maybe you have a lack of a solid structure to know the income generating activities to focus on every week. Or you might have a little bit of fear, which is normal, right? Fear of delegating tasks. If you're used to, especially, if you're used to kind of doing everything in your business, it can feel a little bit uncertain to delegate some of these other tasks. And you feel kind of like, I have to do it all myself, right? So right now you might be struggling with that. And so we want to just honor that and bring it to your awareness. If there's anything else that you feel like might be blocking you right now, I would be curious to hear that too, if you want to share in the chat. So what you really want is systems, processes. We're talking about this, right? Blending tech, team, and tools to make this seamless so that you're able to, as the CEO, focus on needle mover income generating activities that can actually help you reach more people, bring in more clients on autopilot, right? To feel relieved, to know you don't have to do it all, right? So you can have a team. I have a team of people. I think I have it down here. Is it down here? Yeah, I have down here just to show you kind of the different forms of support that I have, that it doesn't have to be expensive. So social media assistant, she actually creates my calendar. So you'll see, if you look in Monetize Your Magic or LinkedIn, that's on autopilot. I check it, she sends me something, I'm like, looks great. run with it, right? Not expensive. I have Priscilla handles all the back end tasks, client support. And again, we all have access to this document. Katie has access to it too, because she's my support coach. So everything from, like uploading blogs to website to, how to download Zoom recordings. Like if a client wants that, like everything is in this policies and procedures. So that helps to streamline processes so everybody's on the same page and everybody knows what they have to do. And actually, Christine, I love that you brought up ClickUp, because I will go in and show you guys how easy that can be too. Because when you have like, hey, you do this, it's due by this date, this is the priority, it's so easy. So let's just go back to this. All right. So today we're going to talk about optimizing your marketing efforts. I know Kim's excited about newsletters and all that stuff. So we're definitely diving into that. Katie's going to talk about some marketing tips and tools to streamline your business. And then I know it sounds like woo-woo, but manifesting to me is creation. So how do you unlock more money in your business? Where can you kind of dig for some of those hidden gems and find that? So who's excited for all of that? All right. And then I promise I will turn it over to Katie shortly, because I know I'm talking a lot right now, but I'm so excited about this. Okay. So let's think about it. Maybe you journal or jot this down for yourself. What is your current return on energy? So we always think about, ROI. Okay, I'm investing in this thing. How much is it going to give back? But I want you to start thinking about your energy. Where are you placing your energy every single week? In other words, is what you're doing leading to sales, right? If not, where are the inefficiencies or gaps? So sometimes these are blind spots. Sometimes I'll, like, as an example, I'll look on someone's website and I'm like looking for the button. I'm like, where's the work with me button? Right? So it's those things that we might not even realize are preventing us from calling in clients. So if you go to my website, there's a clear, it's like, boom, work with me. Speaking, hire me for speaking. So think about those little things too. Is it easy for people to pay you? Are you naturally creating these simplified channels for people to be like, oh, I just listened to Christine's podcast. In the show notes, there's her freebie. Oh, now I'm on her email newsletter list. So you want to be thinking about, what is that client pathway to purchase? Like, how are they eventually starting to work with you, right? So if you're experiencing this right now, you might be like, maybe there's a gap or inefficiency. You might be launching and doing a lot of work and hearing crickets. Maybe you're spending hours like figuring out the tech, right? But not selling programs because your energy's messing. And like, I'm calling myself out. I did this. Like, I was like, I need to build my own WordPress website, like way back in the beginning. I have to do myself. And it just drained my energy. So now I'm able to delegate that, and I'm able to stay in my zone of genius and be on this, right? Serving and helping you to scale your business. So maybe you feel like you're trying to figure everything out on your own. I found this on Google, the spaghetti. I think somebody had said this to me recently, like they're trying to just like, yeah, maybe that'll work. Maybe that'll work. Like throwing spaghetti at the wall. Something's got to work, right? Maybe you're doing a little bit of that. Maybe you're giving a lot of free content, but not having people actively reach out to you. So if you're giving really magnetic content and consistently, you should have leads reaching out to you every week, right? And so this isn't about shaming or making you feel bad, but just kind of seeing, okay, is what I'm doing leading to more business? And if it's not, let's tweak it together. Let's figure out where are those gaps? Where are those inefficiencies? Or maybe you're getting on discovery calls, but you're hearing a lot of like, oh, not right now. So just being curious and marking this for yourself, like, okay, where, instead of like, it's not a punitive thing. It's meant to be like, okay, well, where can I start to optimize and start to tweak, like as something as simple as like putting a work with me tab right on your website, like boom, here it is, here's the call to action, right? Laying out in a very clear way. Like if you go on my actually right now, if you go on my Instagram, Katie and I always talk about this, create a carousel, like here's how to work with me, boom, boom, boom. and you just make it really easy for people to work with you. So it could be something like this, that it's just like a little minor shift, that 1% shift that's really going to change the trajectory of your business. So we talked a little bit about this. So how to simplify, streamline, and scale, utilizing team members. While your team's working on some of those back end tasks, you put your energy towards showing up on a workshop, pitching a program, staying in your zone of genius. Maybe, when you have these different systems in place, you're able to focus on the income generating activities, measuring those efforts, what's profitable. If you're doing the same thing and you're not changing anything and it's not profitable, maybe you let some of that go. Where have your past campaigns, emails, marketing efforts? Like, I'm even thinking about Erin Turo. I think she's still on here with us. I can't see you. Yeah, Erin. Okay. So like, I know that they do like events and they have a lot of different things. Like, what is that? Not that it's not like the feel good, like I'm helping the community, but even looking at some of those things, like, okay, is that something that's leading to more clients, more word of mouth? I know a lot of chiropractors' offices do like, hey, we're going to do a raffle or a giveaway. If you put a Facebook review, this could be for anybody here, like do a giveaway, hey, if you give me a 5-star review and tell me about your experience, like I will pull a raffle winner, right? So thinking about that as well, what efforts are profitable and doubling down on that. And then obviously getting support. So whether it's a coach, whether it's delegating tasks, collapsing time, like I said, you don't have to figure it out all yourself. We can't possibly know it all, and that's okay, because it's going to save you time, money, energy, and effort. I actually just hired somebody yesterday to help me. Like, I did a video. I was like, hey, go overlay this with music, do a little bit of text on it. He did that. I paid him $30 and I went and did something else. So it's like being efficient, like Katie said in the beginning, really being efficient with your time and your energy, because it's precious and you want to spend time with your kids and all of those beautiful things, right? So I'm not going to go too much into this. I want to let Katie take over here, but I just wanted to kind of show you, we mentioned this before, like team technology and tools that can help you to just really create these streamlined processes. So yeah, we'll definitely go through ClickUp at the end, but I don't want to, oh my God, I'm a liar. I thought that Katie was next. Sorry, Katie. I promise I'll shut up soon. All right. Okay, so it's my part first. Navigating newsletters and email marketing to convert prospects into clients. So now we talked about ROE. Now we want to talk about ROI. So for every dollar spent on email marketing, the ROI is, depending on what studies you look at, anywhere from $36 to $44. So there's a reason why I'm highlighting this, because I think that so often we miss these opportunities for consistent marketing, because even if you post on social media, the sea of social media, right? It's like there's so many things coming at you, and people who see your Facebook post might not see your newsletter or might see your newsletter content, vice versa. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can literally copy. This is what I do. Copy from my newsletter and post on Facebook. And then, the chain goes down. So then I post on LinkedIn, then I post on Instagram, repurposing that content. You don't need to like, oh my God, I need to create like a pithy, crazy email. Just think about, I'm going to teach you a couple of just kind of like an easy framework that you can use for newsletters to start calling in clients. So why newsletters? Again, what I just said, sometimes people don't see your Facebook post, but they'll read a newsletter. The other thing I love is that you can capture on the back end who's clicking. So it's like, I spy with my little eye that you're clicking on this, like you're interested in this offer. So that's a really great way to get feedback. Even if someone's just interested, I me, I'm direct. I'm like, hey, I see you clicking on blah, blah, blah. Like, can I answer any questions? Because sometimes your people are on the fence and they're like, oh, should I do this program, whatever. So if you go on the back end, like I use Constant Contact, you can go say, hey, are you I see you clicking on this. Like, is there anything I can help you with? And then maybe they're like, yeah, I can't decide which program or whatever that might be. So I'm giving you some tangible examples here. In summer of 2023, I ran an email campaign, just constant contact every week. You guys, if you're on my newsletter, you're probably like, oh, I get your emails every week. So I literally sold, it was like a lower tier program, and I had upsells, which is essentially like, hey, you like this? What about this? Right? You've seen that before. So then you kind of say, all right, you bought this $97 thing. How about this thing? So you're upselling them. And if they don't want to do it, that's okay too. So I was literally bedbound, and I had my morning sickness in the month of July. It was horrible. And I made $1,000 of passive income because I was like, I was well enough to like type an email out. And I was like, all right, let me just put this out. And I was able to serve that person. It was a passive income like workshop and a course. So I want you to start thinking about that. Like, how can you start to create this? Okay, this happens, right? I send this email, they click here, there's an upsell, there's a trigger. And I do that through Kajabi. And then again, it's this kind of passive income process that you can start calling in, that you're not having to actively go, sell that person, right? One simple campaign can lead to big results. Then, I had another strategic email campaign recently with a call to action that led to a $3,500 sale. Meanwhile, again, it's relationship building. We all know this, that business is really about the know, like, and trust factor. Like, I know Christine Furman, I know Erin Turrell. Like, if somebody needed a chiropractor, I'd be like, go to Dr. Dan, because I know, like, and trust them, because they've been showing up consistently. So it's not just like, poof, this money came out of nowhere. I've been building and giving and sharing and all of that. And so the consistency over time, everybody buys when, at different points, like when they're ready. And sometimes it takes 12, 15 times to engage with somebody before they're like, okay, now I'm ready, right? Now I really am ready to invest with this person. So just for the sake of time, I want to just kind of make this a little bit more succinct here. So essentially, this is like the stages. I always say, like, the stages of like the pathway to purchase. So like stage one, if you think about like dating, you're not going to go on a first date and marry somebody and be like, hey, do you want to marry me? Right? So this is kind of how you start to engage new people in your audience. It's developing that relationship through, I know, Kim, you were talking about creating an opt-in for a freebie. My goal for this year was to reach 200 audiences. So every time I'm on a podcast, I give a freebie. I'm like, share this with your audience, right? Because I want them to come on my newsletter list and get value. And then, then they're in that funnel, right? So giving value, posting consistently so they see how you can help solve their problem, inviting them to a free workshop, right? So that intrigue and flirting stage, then courtship and dating. Once they've engaged in your free content, maybe they want to move to the next stage. So maybe it's a low tier offer, a mid tier offer, and that gives them a little bit of a taste of the transformation you provide. Then maybe they move up to eventually proposing and saying, hey, let's get hitched. I want to work with you one-on-one. And by that, I mean, being in an intimate client relationship. Think about it. Like, you're not going to hire somebody that you don't resonate with. You're going to be like, hey, I want to work with somebody who gets me, somebody who I know can provide value and has my best interest at heart, someone who I trust, right? So it takes time to build this relationship. So even if you're, maybe if you're in the earlier stages of your business too, and maybe you're doing a lot of that building and that foundational work, I don't want you to get discouraged, because you're planting seeds, you're growing relationships. And so I think that that's important to just keep in mind. Okay, this is my last slide, and then I'm turning it over to Katie. This I think you guys are going to like, though. So tips for optimizing your email content. So the average email open rate is between 15 and 20%. That's like across all industries. So mine, and again, this is not me bragging, but I'm just saying, like, I've kind of figured out what to do over the past, it's been 11 years since I started my newsletter, my email open rate's about 50. So here's what you can do. Simple framework that will help you increase your open rate. If you do have a newsletter, if you're going to have a newsletter, having a hook sentence as your subject line is super powerful. So like I had one recently that was like, I had no clue what I was doing. If you got that one, you were probably like, oh, wait, what? And I talked about how when I first started my business, I had no clue what I was doing. I, was doing YouTube videos with the crappy pink walls and whatever, but it's that vulnerability and that one sentence that's going to get people to say, oh, I'm curious about that. Even in your marketing, when you have like a Facebook post or anything like that, use a hook sentence, meaning what is something that is the gist of what you want people to know that's going to pull them in, right? Then the second step is invite. Wait, what did I put here? Oh, okay, I see what I did. It's okay. So then I kind of jumped to this bullet point 3. So use this 3-part framework. So this is the subject line, and then this would be the 3-part framework of like giving them the story. So like I said, I started my business and I had, in Brooklyn, and I was in a studio apartment, describing like the pain points. So like people who are wanting to scale their business, they're probably going through something similar, like trying to do it all themselves. So I kind of painted the picture there. So background story and the challenge, like what is your client facing right now? So maybe you pull from your own story and say, I get it. Like I've been there too, because you're probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps ahead of where this person might be. And so you want to really be with them and say, I get you. Then the next part of it is the solution. Okay. So like, what was the insight that you gained? Inviting them into a call to action. Okay. What are they doing? With every single thing you do, what is the end point? Where are you leading them? Are you leading them to an event, a Facebook group, a program, to like your YouTube video, to go to your website and hire you for something? So always thinking about like, if you could be with someone and you would have your soul client sitting with you reading that email, you're like, hey, let me take your hand and like, this is where we're walking. We're going to go to my Facebook group, right? So imagine that that's a real life experience for them, because through your writing, you can do so much. You can really create that client experience that's like taking them through to a program or, whatever that next step is for them. So, all right. Well, we got a lot of buzz in the chat. Okay, Katie, I'm done. Yes. Thanks, Katie. Yeah, tossing spaghetti. Guilty of that.
No, you're good.
Thank you, Katie.
So since we're talking about emails, I think one important thing to kind of point out is when you're an entrepreneur, you're your own boss, you're the CEO, right? We don't have the pharmacy manager, the store manager to kind of like update you with a new policy and procedure. So you have to really stay apprised and you have to keep yourself informed when there are changes happening in the industry. So coming up very, very soon, there's going to be some email marketing changes coming in 2024. So let me know in the chat if any of you have any idea what I'm talking about, because I'm just curious.
I do.
So basically, there's some changes that are going to be happening where if you don't properly authenticate your emails that are going out, they're going to land in your subscribers' spam box. And you don't want that to happen, right? You're spending time on creating that email, everything that Christina just shared with you on how to make your emails amazing. You don't want them to go to spam. And there's kind of a lot of other intricate pieces that go along with this, but I just kind of wanted to bring this up. We'll touch a little bit more on this later, but I wanted to bring this to
just really quick. Sorry to interrupt you, Katie. So everybody's like, oh, put it in presenter mode. I've done that before and it cuts off the video. So I can't do that. Just letting you guys know. I know someone else messaged me about that too. So with Google Slides, it's weird. So this is what we're rolling with right now. So it's all good.
Yeah. Okay, you can go to the next one. Okay, so some marketing tips and tools to streamline your business. So let me know in the chat if you have a website or if you feel like you need to have a website. I'm just curious here. So if you are active on Instagram, you can actually use Instagram to replace a quote unquote website. Now, I'm not saying that you need to do that or you should do that, but you can. I mean, I have a website as well because as soon as I graduated from IIN, that was what I thought I needed to have. And honestly, I would say my business is mostly coming from my social media outlets, not from my website. So if you think about your profile picture, right? That's where people are going to make that initial connection with you. You want to make sure that it's clear and you can see your face. And if it's a professional picture, even better, but even just a nice picture taken on like a smartphone. For me, I'm a fertility coach, so I have a picture of me and my daughter as my picture. So just something that your audience can like be like, oh, Christina looks like a really friendly person. Like, yeah, I think I'm going to follow her. And it's also kind of like a business card too. So then also going on Instagram, you have your bio, right? I'm sure you guys see on other people's profiles where they have their name, maybe they have their credentials. A lot of times it will have maybe like a sentence or two about what it is that they do, who they serve, how they serve them. And then you can have a call to action. So whether it's download this freebie or sign up for my newsletter or schedule a free discovery call. There are ways that you can utilize your bio, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and it can really replace a lot of the common tabs, if you will, that you would have on a website.
Yep.
So then you can also add a link. And Instagram used to limit you to one link, but now you can have more than one link. So you could have your website if you do have one. If you don't have a website, but you have a few different links that you want to share. I know a few of you have talked about you have a podcast, you could use Linktree, which can basically house a bunch of different links. For me, I'm an affiliate for a lot of different fertility tools or supplements. People can go on my Linktree and find all my discounts. And, I make a little bit of passive income from that. So that's another way that you can do it. Or if you don't have a lot of links right now, that's fine. Maybe you just share your Calendly link to have people book a discovery call, or you share a link where someone can sign up for your newsletter. Or if you have a lead magnet, you can have that link on there as well. And then if you guys are familiar with like the highlight section on Instagram, it's like the little circles right above your feed. So you can also make those into like tabs on a website. So you can have an about me section, you can have testimonials, client wins, like my top or like number one selling program. I have one for my podcast where you can link podcast episodes to. You can do anything that feels really good to you. I shared Christina's on when I was teaching in her Elevate Healers Academy. She has 5, right? 5 nice, concise highlight covers. I have probably too many because my Instagram was a personal Instagram that I made into a professional, but you can always delete them, tweak them, change them. And for anyone who doesn't know, anything that you share to your Instagram story, you can then attach to a different highlight. So there's all of these features that are essentially free, and you can take advantage of these to, connect with your clients. You can build that know, like, and trust with them. And then you're also going to, direct them in how can they work with you? How can they learn more? Whatever that may be. And then kind of another example outside of Instagram is if you have a Facebook account, even if it's a personal Facebook account, you can make a really professional cover photo. So if you look at Christina's personal Facebook account, you'll see what she has. It has a very clear call to action to join her monetize your magic Facebook group. And then when you click on the image, it actually has the link to the group. So then you can join right there. Facebook has a little space for a bio. It might be like 100 characters, but you can have a call to action there as well. You can list just to kind of like build authority where you went to school. So like I have that I went to Albany College of Pharmacy, that I'm the owner of Happy Nourished Motherhood, that I'm a like a certified cannabis pharmacist, because that's kind of like a cool conversation starter. So just, there's a lot of things that you can utilize to connect with people and spark conversations and things like that. And you can repurpose that cover photo on your LinkedIn. And LinkedIn also has like a little bio section as well.
I think in Canva, there's actually different measurements with like
Mhm.
a LinkedIn cover versus like a Facebook cover. But it, like literally go to Canva and just type that in, like LinkedIn cover photo.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And so yeah, having Canva as a tool is another amazing tool if any of you aren't using Canva yet. There is a free version. You can do a decent amount with the free version. I highly recommend paying for it. It's not very expensive, and you can claim that on your taxes as like a business expense. But yeah, that's what I have for that slide. And then I feel like we've touched upon this a little bit, like repurposing content, but we can go into this a little bit more. So for me, I was thinking about it. I pretty much will create about 2 pieces of content. So we'll just say an Instagram post and then my podcast. So my Instagram post, whether it's a reel or a carousel or a static post, I'm then going to use that social media automation tool that Christina and I already talked about. She uses Social Bee. I use Social Pilot. There's a few different options out there now. And I can post that one piece of content to my LinkedIn, my Facebook, TikTok. If it's a reel, it can go to YouTube Shorts, Pinterest, all of those things. And I just created one piece of content. And then
Yeah.
also, depending on the type of content, I can use it in an email. I can send that out to my newsletter as well. And then I will create a long form type of content, my podcast. And I have recently been kind of, depending on the topic of the podcast, making a blog post out of that podcast. And
Yeah.
then you can share that. Like I've been getting really big in Pinterest lately. So you can share the podcast, I can share the blog post on Instagram. And in all those places, you can have calls to action as well. So that's kind of you're building a virtual spider web, so to say. So I do think in the beginning, like Christina mentioned earlier, focusing on 2 platforms until you really get comfortable with them is a good idea. But once you do feel comfortable to kind of branch out, like I think last year is when I really started like, okay, I'm going to spend a little time building my YouTube channel. And now I'm just like repurposing content. That's
Right.
what's building my YouTube channel.
Well,
Um,
one thing I wanted to mention too, now that we're on like the
yeah.
podcast to blog, like if you're asking yourself, like, why would I do that? Think about if somebody, I mean, it could show up probably in SEO too, but
Mhm.
if someone's looking for a specific topic or they're looking for like they're Googling something, it's going to show up and then they click on the blog. There's maybe your freebie or call to action. So, I mean, you can obviously do that with podcasts too, but I think it's just kind of another way, another
Mhm.
format. to kind of, and you can even have a transcription there too, right? Of the podcast if you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So just wanted to pop that in.
Yeah, and then a tool that I'm sure a lot of you have heard of. So let me know if any of you are familiar with ChatGPT and if you've tried using it.
So
I'm
I told
really
Kim
curious.
about it the other day. She's like, "What?" Yeah, it's awesome.
So, ChatGPT is AI technology. You can basically give it a command and it's going to spit something out to you. Now, it is a little controversial. Some people think like it's not authentic, da 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 da, but it's a tool, right? And I think if you use it respectfully and with intention, you can use it. It can help you. And I will say, I have used ChatGPT to help me in a lot of different things. And one of the things is writing my blog. Now, there's another piece of it is like you almost have to know how to communicate with the software to get the outcome that you want to have. But then also only using it as like a map or an outline, and then you want to go back through it, make sure that it's correct, B, that it's aligned with you and your business, and you still want to make sure that like you're maintaining integrity for yourself and your business, that it's still connecting to your brand, to your voice. I'm just kind of sharing this because it as like another tool that you can use. There's so many tools out there and it can get really, really overwhelming. So yeah, it's just another tool that you can use for a lot of different things, but you have to use it respectfully and intentionally.
Awesome. Yeah, and if you guys have questions, just go ahead. I'm gonna go into kind of a,
Yeah.
yeah, great idea.
Okay.
Um, so we're gonna kind of go a little bit deeper into kind of I want to open you up. I want to open up your awareness to all these different ways that you can start creating in your business. And again, you don't have to do all these things, but if something grabs your attention, I want you to like pay attention to that. So I'm going to be talking about some different ways to create passive and active income streams for your business. So what are the common beliefs that we have, right, to creating and scaling our business? Like, oh, we kind of talked about some of them already. Like, I have to do it all myself. Like, it's weak to ask for help. And sometimes these are so subconscious. It's like, oh wow, yeah, I do have that belief. I can't invest until I start earning money, right? So we grip onto it because we don't feel safe yet to say, okay, I'm going to delegate some of these funds here with intention, right? Investing with intention. Some other blocks we talked about were like lack of structure. So sometimes if your energy's scattered, I always use the example of the leaky bucket or the leaky colander. Money's energy, right? So if you're not focused, sometimes what happens is you're like scattered. It's like, oh, where do I put my energy, right? So maybe that's part of what's blocking you in your business right now. Some of these things we talked about that can block you from idea to implementation. So like overthinking or like perfecting a post for hours, or like maybe earlier on in your journey, like not feeling qualified to start quite yet. So there can be a lot of these very subtle patterns that come through that can prevent you from taking your idea to implementation. So when we think that we can only achieve or receive money from one source. So as an example, I know a lot of you, all of you here are entrepreneurs, but if you think like, okay, well, this is the only way, you're blocking off all the other possibilities. So that's what I want to just kind of open your awareness today to some of these different possibilities that might be there that you might not be capitalizing on. So I have over 20 passive and active income streams and constantly receiving in expected and unexpected ways. That is a belief of mine. I am always receiving in expected and unexpected ways. And I'm going to go through some of them here. Like as an example, Eric does fantasy football, and I don't know why, but he always gives me his money. He gives me like, he wins money at golf, gives it to me. I'm like, I that's really sweet, but like, I feel bad. So like money, it just comes in from all these different channels. So it doesn't just have to be from your business. It can be from all of these different things. So passive income products, we talked about that before, ebooks, physical books, workshops that you have on your website. I have three very, actually, maybe I'll go in and actually show you guys what because I think this is important. I want to show you the clear call to action here on my website. So, okay, work with me. Boom. Click on that. So there's three different ways, right? So you have the DIY courses and workshops, so people can go buy this. Everything's on here, clickable links, everything works. Done with you courses. I actually made these to on demand. And then VIP packages, right? So thinking about that with your, and like Katie said, you don't necessarily have to have a website, but where do people land to pay you? So thinking about maybe some things are kind of coming through for you now, like, is it clear? This, or this, right? So maybe it's like three things that they can pick from. So now I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. I just wanted to show you that because I think, wait, where are we? No, wrong one. Hold on. Let me get back to, here we go. Simplify and streamline. Okay. So like, again, are there places for people to click and say, okay, work with me? Boom, here it is. You can buy a workshop that I recorded previously. So thinking about that, do you have old workshops that you can put onto your website or put onto a shop page that you can sell? Can you bundle products together and do a Black Friday sale or do a whatever sale? Can you create different packages or memberships or whatever that might be? Those are more maybe the traditional things you might think of, but Katie talked about this too before, right? Affiliate commission. So maybe you partner with a program that aligns with your business, or you have, like, I don't cut any possibilities off. I'm like, paid survey opportunity, sure, pay me for my opinion, why not? Sponsorship from companies, YouTube commission, royalties from books, lotto winnings, again, like, it doesn't just have to come from your business, gift cards. So noticing all of the ways that you're already receiving, right? So like I said, Eric somehow, I don't know why, he just won fantasy football. I got $250. I'm like, yay, that's awesome, right? So thinking about these different ways that you can start to expand how you receive, making it easy for people to pay you. So if anything's coming through for you, like, you know what, I got to go make sure that all the links work on my website. I have to make sure that there's a call to action at the end of every post. I want to hear from you. How can you start to unlock, I call them money channels, but what other things are coming through that you could start doing, whether it's repurposing past content or doing a paid workshop. I don't even know if I put that in here. Oh yeah, I did. Passive income. Or just hosting a workshop that's like, you guys see me do this all the time, $47. That's money for your business to be able to pay people, right? Because it costs money to have a business. You're hiring, team, you have technology fees that, annual fees for all of these different things. And so how can you start to bring in some of this income that's going to support you to be able to hire out some of these tasks that then will allow you to expand even more and have that stable foundation so that you can start scaling your business. So I'd love to hear in the chat what you're thinking here. Not a clear. Yeah. Yep. So clear call to action. Okay. Oh, there's like a lot of chats going on here. Okay. I love it. All right. I am going to open up the floor. I'll have you guys come off mute in 1 minute. I just wanted to go through this. Okay. So here is your action steps from day one. So we went through a lot. We went through a lot today. So take your time, digest it. If you have to watch the replay, that's why we recorded it. And, we're here to show up and serve to help you here. So write out what ways you're now open to receiving or I call it unlocking money channels. So it would be something like this, right? Like, oh, I never even thought about that. Like giveaway. Okay. I won a $250 giveaway, and I got like free vitamins from Pure Encapsulations recently, because my belief is I'm always receiving in expected and unexpected ways. So how can you start to just be open to all the different ways that you can receive in your business? Because again, that's supporting your bottom line. It's supporting your ability to scale and expand. Okay, so that's number one. We'll post this in the group too. Number two, share what you know and make an offer on social media. So we're really going to lean in with you here. So what is something that you could sell right now, whether it's a low tier offer, whether it's like, buy this workshop that I created, or like, here's this, whatever that is. Share what you know. So share, maybe it's like a post or it's a newsletter using that framework I taught today, and make an offer. Just go for it. And number three, write out 3 hook subject lines for a newsletter. So this is just getting your creative juices flowing around, like, all right, like, how would I hook somebody in, my ideal client? And then kind of describe to me, what would the newsletter be about? So you can just create like 3 different, and hey, if you want to use Chat GPT, you can do that too. And then post that in the Facebook group. And remember, we're giving away some really cool prizes when you show up and play full out here, because we really want you to get the most out of this time together. You can tell I'm a pharmacist. Katie's like, I'm OCD. This has to be centered. So, okay, I will take off. You guys can, if you have questions, if not, I can go back and show ClickUp too quickly, whatever's easier. But if you wanted to, ask questions for us here, you can come off mute. Don't be shy. Anybody?
I'm definitely interested in learning more about delegating, finding the person that I can delegate my social media blast for my podcast to. And
Yeah.
a quick definition, that's just posting it to 5 different places: LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and excuse me, RPH Ally.
Easy peasy. Easy.
How do you find somebody you can trust?
Yeah, so I would say there's Upwork, there's Fiverr. I've hired many different people from those platforms. I would do your research and make sure that you are obviously clear in your communication, and say what it is that you want. You can vet them, you can kind of see what kind of style they have, or their communication, their ratings. So you can do something like that. So there's a lot of different platforms that you can kind of look on. That's easy. And then they just use something like Social Bee, they schedule it, or Social Pilot. So again, it's team and tools, or team and tech. That could be really easy.
What could go wrong? I mean, seriously, what could go wrong? I'm scared.
Okay, let's dive into that. So what are you scared about?
I am scared about whoever has control over my social media posts is going to post something either incorrectly, or take over my social media channels and post stuff that I don't authorize. That's like the worst thing that I could imagine happening.
So that's interesting. We want to be curious about this protective part of you, right? That wants to stay safe, right? This part of you that is strong and used to doing it and having everything be perfect. And then there's that fear of like, what if it's not perfect? What if I'll actually tell you a quick funny story. So my social media person, Lover, it was supposed to be an arrow that was pointing up, like, the finger. She did the middle finger and posted that everywhere. And I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, she didn't mean to do it. No one even caught it. I caught it within the first 10 minutes, because I was like scrolling. I'm like, oh my God, she put the middle finger. So I highly doubt this person's going to do that. But I think it's like, okay, let's picture that worst case scenario. You think about that story, can't be much worse than that, and you go and fix it. So I think it's just showing your body and your nervous system, it's safe for me to delegate and to trust your own discernment. Like, you're going to meet with this person, you're going to vet them, you get to choose, right? Like, if they are a good fit for you. And then here's the thing, it's not, this person being your VA is not on your tombstone, right? Like, you can change, you can say, hey, it's not working. So I think just having that more like flexible approach and realizing you don't need to be perfect. And it's okay if you like go back over and like, okay, this isn't working, or hey, so I want to acknowledge that that's a very real fear. I get that. Make money. I see royalties on books. Thank you. Kim, I love you. Yes, I need to update this PowerPoint. You're not a business if you don't make money. You should create a nonprofit if that's not a priority. Deanne, if you want to share about that. I'm just confused on that comment. Sorry, I missed that 6 minutes ago. Go ahead. EFT tapping. Yeah, absolutely. Deanne, did you want to say something? So yeah, I gave my audience the middle finger. And you guys probably didn't even realize it because it looked like the one that was like, all you can do is laugh.
I was also going to say too, Kim,
Yeah.
you could even post on social media to your friends and say, hey, does anyone have a VA that they love that needs more hours?
Yeah.
Because Christina and I actually have the
Great
same
idea.
social media VA
Yeah.
because I don't know, somehow we got to talking about her and I was like, oh, I really like, the things that she's been doing for you. And, I know that Christina has worked with her, has been happy with her, and I've been working with her since the summer, I think.
I think the thing too that, with perfectionism is like, it's more about the essence, right? And the message and the impact that you're going to have. Like, I'm sure if you go look at like this book, there are errors in this book, I'm sure, but it's about, to me, it's like the impact. Like, I don't need it to be perfect because that's when it's like idea to implementation is like this because it takes so long. It's more about, I want you to feel into, by what is it costing you to not just put it out there, right? Like, the impact, the business, the expansion, all of that. I think too, just even like more practically, thinking about the impact that it can have.
I
Like,
I I
no one
don't
cares if I have like lipstick on my teeth right now. No one cares.
I
It's okay.
I don't think it's perfectionism so much as it's the lack of awareness about the tools that are available. And I think I had to experience the pain and the challenge of wasting time doing it one social media channel at a time to realize that that was a pain point. So I'm not trying to disagree so much as add into there that I think it's more of a lack of awareness. I really should know about this stuff because
Yeah.
I teach podcasters how to plan podcasts, and once I figure out this tool, that adds value to my audience too.
Right.
So
Right.
this is all good. This is all good. I just need to, now that I'm aware of the problem, the first step is knowing you have a problem, right? Isn't that like a drug
Yeah.
abuse
Step
awareness
one.
thing?
And you have
Yeah.
making money. Yeah.
It's a social media abuse awareness problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deanne.
These are great suggestions and thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I love this. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to add or ask? This is a safe environment. You could literally ask me anything. Ask Katie anything.
I'll ask about the newsletter. You said constant contact.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that? Any, buyer's
Well, I've
remorse?
used them for the last 11 years, so I'm very happy with them. Yeah.
How
The
about
cool,
LinkedIn newsletters? Have you tried those?
no, I haven't done that before. But yeah, constant contact is really great. I love them, and they have good support too. Yeah. So let's actually, I want, because I do want to go back to Christine's question here, and we have like a few minutes left. So let's go through. I just want to show you kind of the back end of ClickUp so you guys can see what it looks like. All right. Okay. ConvertKit for newsletters. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, sometimes it's a little slow. So ClickUp pretty much is like a monday.com. It's something that you can use with your team members. Like that's what you're using it for. Sorry, I don't know why it's so slow. But essentially what you're doing is you can assign tasks. You can even have a monthly checklist. So like, I'm just going to pick on like Kim, say as an example, you were like, okay, you grant access to this ClickUp platform for your new virtual assistant, right? And you're like, hey, I need you to make sure that you check these podcasts. I'm just making up a task. I don't know, whatever the task is, every single month. You can create a recurring task list for that person, for that team member. I don't know why this is so slow. Sorry, guys. So you can do stuff like that. You can like have a recurring checklist. You can do something like I don't know, I'm just going to make up a task. Like I'll just put Christine Furman. That's the task here. Okay. So then you pick the assignee. So you would have my only person on here is Priscilla because Iris, she knows what to do, but I would do Priscilla. I'm not going to do that because it'll send her an email to let her know that there's a new task. You add a due date, right? So when do you want this done by? And then priority. So urgent, high, blah, blah, blah. The cool thing about it too is you can go in here and say, you give them notes. You say, hey, this is what I need you to do. Right. And so you say, upload podcast, use policies and procedures to do so, whatever the heck you want them to do. Right. And so everybody's on the same team. They know when everything's due, same page, and they can complete the task. So you can go over here and then, this is in the way, you would complete the task. Why can't I do this? Anyway, there's a way to complete the task here if you go in here. So that way it's like, okay, or they can even write comments in here like, hey, I'm confused about blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then you guys can have that back and forth exchange versus email communication and back and forth. And then the email gets lost. It just kind of keeps everything very succinct. So here, more complete. That's what you would do. So I love it. I've used it for the past couple of years. I think it's just really helpful to delegate tasks, to make sure that everybody's on the same page, to give updates, things like that. So that's what I use. Let's see if people have questions. Similar to Slack. You can use Slack too. I just like the fact that everything's on one page. You can do assign, due date, priority level. Yeah, I use Kajabi. I love Kajabi. Katie and I both do. That's where I host all my courses, everything.
Question, do you use the email feature within Kajabi? I mean, does that?
I don't, just because I like constant contact. I feel like you have more control over like who gets the email versus Kajabi. Like Katie, you know what I mean? With the marketing tab, it's kind of like, I find it hard to segment the list. And then also constant contact has a really nice like background, where I think Kajabi, it's just like a plain text. Although I know there's different templates, but I'm not messing with that. I'm like, keep it simple. Just like this workshop. I'm like, keep it simple.
I appreciate that. I have Kajabi and I have two very different courses. I have my podcast planning for pharmacy professionals, and then I have a drug name pronunciation course. The drug name pronunciations is mostly, I think, voice actors and foreign pharmacists, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penny wants to
So-
say hi. Real
Oh,
quick.
hi. Aw.
Penny. We got Penny and Lindsay right here. If it's not broke, don't fix it. All right. Any last minute questions or things that really, I guess, like popped out at you today, or things you're excited about? I'd love to, feel free to unmute. Go ahead.
Hate to take over the conversation.
You get most engaged. I love it.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
I heard podcast earlier. Katie, you have a podcast. Who else has a podcast? I just want to check out your podcast. Christine, can everybody tell me the names of their podcasts or
Or throw it
put
in
a
the
link in the
chat.
chat? Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll post mine in the chat. I just want to say that, you're talking about throwing spaghetti at the wall, the processes, all of these things. I needed to find the people that resonated with me the most.
Right.
I had website people, they weren't creating it the way that I wanted. It was like a block. I finally found someone that is creating my website, listening to what I need, and resonates with me. So it's like,
Right.
oh my gosh, it's opened up my eyes, and like, oh, just like this sigh of relief that it's like, okay, it's time now. Like, all of these pieces are now going to fall into place. I heard you guys talking about, planting the seeds, and now this is the season to reap and sow. And that's truly how I feel. I've got 2 young kids. I've been homeschooling them. We've been through a big move, and it's like, okay, put all these things in place now. And now it's time to really reap
Right.
all of the benefits,
Right. Exactly. And I just pictured as you were talking, it's kind of like, I pictured this earlier today about like, imagine if you had to juggle like 50 balls in the air, but then imagine if you could like spread that across 10 people or 5, even 5 people, whatever. You don't have to hire 5 people, but like you kind of like lighten the load and you're like, okay, you take some of this, you take some of this, and so it's not you juggling all the balls yourself being like, I'm overwhelmed. Right. And then you have the leaky bucket, then you're not efficient with your energy. And it just kind of like, can be frustrating, right? When you're trying to do all the things in your business. So I think it's, you build slowly, right? Like you start off with maybe one team member and then it helps you, right? And then maybe you add someone else. And then I didn't start off with Katie, Iris, and Priscilla. It was like, okay, Priscilla first, and then you slowly add on. So I think it's, I don't want you to get overwhelmed depending on where you're at in your business, like just taking that next right step, as Deanne would say, make it the baby steps. she always loved that. Right. So just keep it simple and just take that next step. Yeah. Love it. And feel free to come off if anybody else wants to share. Thank you so much, Christine. And if not, we'll wrap up for the night. We're usually on time. I want to keep in mind if you guys want to eat dinner or relax or whatever that might be. But I so appreciate this. You guys are an amazing group of just, engaging and asking questions and all of that. So we're going to have a tough time picking winners now because I'm like, Katie and I are going to have to decide. But awesome. Okay. So if you have questions, post them right in the Facebook group. Because I know it was a lot to kind of absorb. Katie's going to post the replay of this directly in the Facebook group. So you'll have that. And then we'll see you tomorrow night at the same time. So 5 to 6:30. Baby steps. Oh, no worries, Deanne. I got you. All right. Everybody have a great night. Great job tonight.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.